Hi, it's Jen back with Let Freedom Ring, row 8 right here at the bottom. Piecing and some very important squaring up. Looking at that, here's the block, but this is how it starts. Isn't that amazing? You go, wow, how does this become that? Well, I'm going to show you that. We basically have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows. You will piece these rows. The quarter inch is going to be pretty important to you, but by now you're an expert on that. We're in row 8. Pressing this row and these rows need to be opposite to have interlocking seams. So just sewing those together, you're at this place. I would like to encourage you to, of course, we know we want to hit these points. This is really kind of where we start, and this ends up getting trimmed up. Pinning here. And of course, pinning there. And we will be pressing and doing the same here. And then this, of course, I'm just really centering that right over that spot. Sewing the quarter inch and sewing the quarter inch. So I'm going to go do that because I want to spend our time today talking about squaring something up like this. Because the squaring up part is what throws me. There are times when a ruler is a nicety, and there's times where I believe a ruler is a necessity. And I'm going to talk to you about 2 different 6.5 inch Creative Grid rulers today. If you've got a 6.5 inch by maybe 12.5 inch, I think it can work, but not as well as these 2. I just want to point those out to you and let you see my sight picture from what I'm seeing and why those 2 are on the table with me today, and which one I'd like to steer you toward more than the other. Let me go get that sewn together. I'm just going to be pinning very carefully, and then I'll get everything pressed out. So when I come back, we're going to be at the squaring up phase, and then we can talk about finishing your quilt. I'll be right back. So now that we have everything sewn together, and then this is the pressing that is accomplished. So that's just something for you to always see. Now we basically need to turn this what's called on point, and a quarter inch away from every single one of these points we need to trim. Trying to use a conventional ruler to do that is possible. However, the desire is to be able to have the sight picture on all 4 corners. If I just grabbed a ruler, let me just grab this one for example. I can hit my point, try to hit my point a quarter inch away and make a trim. But right now, the other 3 sides aren't even coming into play. They're not even in my purview to assess it. Should I be here? Here? It's so minutely different, but it matters. For that reason, a mission-specific ruler is actually the Creative Grid 6.5 inch squared up and fussy cut ruler. And the truth is, it's not really a ruler, it's a tool. Rulers have measurements, quarter inch, half inch, inch. The 6.5 inch, which I use plenty of, is a great ruler. But in this instance, I like removing a lot of the lines and just getting down to what's important to me. Every single one of those solid lines right there with the number 6 on that is exactly what I'm looking for right now. I'm trying to lay that onto where the blue meets the white on every single side. So I've got that side, this side, the bottom. I'm going to scoot that just twist it ever so slightly. Do you see what this does? I get a full understanding of all 4 sides at the same time. I'm not kind of in the ballpark. I am in the ballpark. That's what I'm looking for. This is going to lead to our most successful block without any points being clipped. Once you have that, and of course the reason I've got the spinning mat, once you find that sweet spot, you do not want to move this if desired. If possible. Get all of this out of the way. Again, I just kind of lightly let go of that to rotate that into an advantageous place to continue cutting. and again here. Now I have absolute confidence because we saw it. We saw the sight picture. We knew we had that 1/4 inch distance away. So as we sew this into our project, we know that these will not have any clipped points. Let me see if there's a sashing in between. There's not. So as we lay this on here, look at how that just, in fact, let me sew it. I want you to see it. I used to, back in the day, when I was doing good to afford a ruler, I had one ruler. It was a 6 by 24 inch, and that was my whole world. I have since, I feel like I've matured as a quilter, where I recognize better tools lead to better results. And I think that's true when I'm using a new gadget in the kitchen. I make a more advanced, more complicated, more interesting meal. I feel like it's almost any craft or anything we do, better tools produce better results. So let me sew this together. I want you to see those points now are so beautiful now that we've accurately trimmed our block. And let's press that open for sure. And look at that. I love that. So good. I've used those regular rulers to square something up, where you're squaring each side up kind of individually without taking the whole block into account, and they end up a little wonky sometimes. Sometimes I hit it, but it's a little hit and miss, I would say. Of course, and now we've got that sewn together and it's looking so beautiful, and we'll just keep doing that. Again, just like before, don't just keep adding on to this group, do groups of 2, and then sew your 2 together. It just helps reduce that kind of bowing that can happen when we just keep adding on. Now that your rows are together, just a reminder on page 4 of Lindsay's pattern, she talks about what happens when my row isn't the right size. And she gives you some pointers on adding some strips. What do you want to do? Sometimes I can examine a row and I can see I miscut maybe a sashing strip, or perhaps I took too great or too lean of a seam allowance, and perhaps seam ripping that, and I can make the adjustment there. But she gives you some pointers on page 4. But once you've gotten through all of this, obviously there's certain sashing strips that do join everything up. And then of course out here, we have another nice outer border. And you're off to the quilter. So good job. This has been an exercise in all the things: accurate piecing, cutting, pressing, 1/4 inch seam, all the things. And of course, more block of the months on the way to you. Some are exclusively piecing. Some are heavy applique, and some will be that beautiful blend of both piecing and applique. Subscribe, let your friends know, let your Quilt Guild friends know now that we're able to meet once again, and just share the good news. And perhaps next time you sign up for a block of the month or row of the month, maybe you could do that as a group. Thanks for giving me many weeks of your time to share Let Freedom Ring. I look forward to seeing you soon on more Shabby videos.